Hey everybody, John Skiba, and in this video I'm going to talk about this child tax credit that the government is going to start sending out 2 days from now. On July 15th, 2021, the third stimulus, the child tax credit, is going to start coming out as far as payments go. I want to talk about how to protect those funds once they hit your account. I know it's a big concern if you have a judgment against you and people are trying to collect on it. You're worried about, a bank levy, garnishment, that kind of thing. We're going to talk about some ways to protect those funds when they hit your account. But if this is your first time here to my YouTube channel, please go ahead and click subscribe. That way you'll be notified each and every week when I put out new videos that'll help you deal with those serious debt problems. All right, let's talk about this child tax credit. And real quick, before I jump into that, I've just launched a new Facebook group, a discussion group. It's going to be a members-only group. It's going to be private, where we can have some more interaction on debt collection lawsuits, bankruptcy, that kind of stuff. So if you wait around to the end, I'm going to share a little bit more about that. But I just want to let you know I'm going to talk about it at the end. So if you're interested in that, I can provide you some additional information. So I'm recording this on July 13th, 2021. And 2 days from now, the government's going to start sending out these payments as part of this child tax credit provision. It's something that's really interesting because it's something that's totally different than the prior stimulus. The prior stimulus, they were just checks that came out. This one's actually a tax credit, but they're giving you an advance on it, on half of the amount that you're owed, in the form of monthly payments starting in July through December of this year. And then the other half, you're going to get a tax credit when you file your taxes next year in 2022 for the money that you earned this year. So it's a little bit different as far as how they're sending it out. And particularly if you have a lot of kids like me, I have 6 kids, when you start doing the calculators on it, these are going to be some significant payments that are being sent out. So there can be a concern if all of a sudden you're having this money come into your account, if you have a judgment out there that's pending against you, that you may get some type of wage garnishment, bank levy, or your account's frozen and you lose the money altogether. So I should tell you this, something that, one way that people lose payments from the government like this is if they owe federal student loans. They've already said that the federal student loans, if you're past due on those, they're not going to intercept these funds like they would if it was a typical, typical tax refund, something like that. So they're protected if you're dealing with the student loan issue. But if you're just getting a direct deposit, and for most people, if your tax refund comes through direct deposit, that's how these funds will come. If they come through a direct deposit, there are not a whole lot of protections against garnishment. The prior stimulus payments, they had built into the law protections against garnishment so that creditors couldn't take them. That's not the case with this one. If the money is in your account, unless there's an exemption law in your state that protects those funds are at risk of being garnished if there's a judgment that's already pending against you. So what you need to do, one, if there is a judgment that's pending, I would not leave a bunch of cash sitting in a checking account. You're not going to be notified ahead of time when a garnishment hits. They just do it. And I can tell you that the debt collectors and creditors, they're fully aware that there's going to be an additional influx of cash that they can go after. I do bankruptcy law as well. I can tell you we're at like a 15-year low in bankruptcies. And I tell people that and they can't believe that the bankruptcy numbers are so low. It's because there's been a lot more cash injected into the system through these stimulus payments, and people aren't needing to file. But the debt collectors know that, and so they're putting a lot more pressure on people to try to settle these debts. So if your tax refund usually comes through direct deposit, the child tax credit will be sent to you via direct deposit, and you either need to not keep the money in the account, or you need to know what the exemption limit is for your particular state. Now, every state has a law relating to money in a bank account. Some of them, the exemption is 0. Doesn't matter how much you have in there, the creditors can take it. There's other states that have, particularly states that have what's called a wild card exemption. Sometimes you can protect up to 8 to 10 grand in a checking account. States like Arizona, where I live, it's $300 for an individual and up to $600 for a married couple. So anything over that can be taken by the creditors. So that's why I'm saying in general, having the money in the account is a little bit of a dangerous path to go. But you can research in your particular state. This can be done, it's really simple. Just do a quick Google search. You could go to Google Scholar. I've recommended that a lot, or over at the Cornell Law School at the Legal Information Institute. you can just put bank account exemption for your state, or you can search if there's a wildcard exemption for your state. Now, some states have actually taken some action. I was doing some research on this a little bit earlier today. There's 6 states, so most have them, but 6 have. California, Colorado, Maine, New York, Ohio, and Virginia have all put laws in place to protect the child tax credits. There's other states that do have protections for public benefits, which some courts have interpreted the stimulus payments to be public benefits, so that's something to take a look at as well. Other than that, you're going to have to do some research on what the exemption is in your state. And actually, I found a great article put out by the National Consumer Law Center. I'll put a link down to it below the video here. And it actually has a detailed breakdown of what the exemption is in your state as it relates to being able to garnish funds. So just being aware that the funds are going to start coming, being sent out July 15th and the 15th of every month thereafter through December. So this is something that if you have a garnishment or a judgment, just because you get through July doesn't mean that August is protected. So you need to be aware of what these exemptions are and what that means as far as doing with those funds. One quick note, if you get a paper check, because I know some people are still getting paper checks from the government, you can just cash those. You don't have to actually deposit it. So that's something to be aware of as well as one way to deal with it. So wrapping this up, let me tell you quickly about the Facebook group that I just put together. YouTube has been great, but I've been looking for a way to have more interaction between me and you, as well as other members and people who follow my YouTube channel. Because I know there's always questions and people are doing things that they found to be effective. And I thought this would be, having some type of forum to be able to share that. So I put together a private Facebook group. It's a membership group, so it is a paid group, but it's a fairly nominal fee each month that you have to be involved in, and you can cancel it at any time. And I fully anticipate that someone maybe will need this for a month and then, they're out kind of thing. Hopefully, you can get this done quickly. But I'm going to put a link down below as well if you're interested in that. If you're at the YouTube channel too, there's a button at the top that says join. You can click on that and that'll get you in the group as well. So go ahead and check that out. And if you have any comments or questions, go ahead and throw those down there about those child tax credits. They're coming here pretty quick, and it's good to have a plan in place. Thanks for watching today.